2, and here's Modi. Hi everybody and happy Purim, but you're not hearing this, you're going to be hearing it a week after Purim. How much fun we're taping on Purim.
I love it. It's one of my favorite holidays.
Isn't it?
And Elon's mom gave us Hamantaschen.
Elon Altman is sitting in with us today, and he came in with he called me this morning and said my mom made Hamantaschen for you, and he lives down the block from us on Grand Street. Mm-hmm. So I wanted them, but I didn't want to be home. So I said, we're taping the podcast, so schlep them up to 38th Street and 36, 7, 8,
it doesn't
38.
matter.
Doesn't matter. I forgot, you're always you don't want people to know where you are or where your kids go to school.
Imperial thinks Mossad is out.
Yes.
Or Putin.
Or Putin
for sure.
No one's looking for you.
Or that stalker lady of yours.
Oh, no. First of all, so it's your first time on the podcast, but, we're getting used to the fact that Periel's not wearing masks anymore.
And it's a new development.
She's a risk taker.
I'm against that.
Of all the days, though, this is Purim. You should be wearing a mask today.
Exactly.
That's true.
Quick. But the other day we went to go see the space to possibly tape a special. It was a synagogue, beautiful or gorgeous. It was one of the most beautiful synagogues I've seen in New York City, and they're still doing the mask thing. And Periel went from only mask. She's like, I'm not wearing a mask, and she tore it off.
You
her
told me to
face.
take my mask off.
I'm an anti-masker now.
You told me, just let the people know. You told me to take it off.
Enough already.
All right.
I didn't take a mask off for 2 years, and I got COVID
the
twice.
180 has been just entertaining to watch.
Okay, so we're having one of these Hamantaschen.
So this one is Nutella and chocolate.
Wow. Did you say Boré Prisonot?
No. No.
You did a Purim show last night.
Last night was amazing. I'm going to just swallow this like a pig.
She didn't know she was going to get a review on the air.
Tell your mom
It's
she
going to be a
tastes
glowing
great.
review.
I just said, tell your mom she tastes great.
Yeah.
Tell your mom that her
which one's
Hamantaschen
which?
tastes
She's
great.
a married woman. How dare you?
I'm awful.
Yeah.
Elon Altman is living. He's doing construction on his apartment in a co-op, in probably one of the hardest places to do construction in. But his mother's the president of the board.
My dad is.
Your dad is same thing. It probably definitely it's a blessing for you to have that. Any which way. Last night we did a show.
Yeah.
Young Israel of Scarsdale.
Oh, that's right by me in Westchester.
It was like wow. I haven't had I've been having amazing shows lately, but this one was like another level of. It was a high. You know when you do comedy, it's on a high. You're in it and you can't believe it's happening while you're in it.
Yeah.
It was that Young Israels are like the improvs for Jewish comedy.
That's hilarious.
Now there's like the Young Israel of Scarsdale. There's the Improv of Miami, which I'll be at on the 31st of this month.
The 24th.
24th of this month.
Seamless plug.
There's the Young Israel of the Young Israel of Long Beach, Young Israel of 5 towns, like Young Israel of everywhere in the world. And it's like the improvs, because when they do a comedy night, we walked in there last night. There were 800 people in the building. Kids screaming and yelling and just out of control.
So unsettling.
It was just, it's Purim. The kids,
Right.
They're in full, and they still have this double vibe in the room. There's all the young people were in the main sanctuary, not wearing masks, but the ones that are still holding on to it, they built this tent structure in the parking lot. And everybody was in there, but everybody in there who's COVID conscious is sitting on top of each other in this closed tent. It's so ridiculous. And then the green room for me in these events is usually the rabbi's office.
Amazing.
That's always the green room. And I'm in there for an hour before the show. I come out. I had seen what had happened with the synagogue, with the reading of the Megillah, the Minyan. The service that was outside, and everybody in there was super. It was like the older people of the synagogue that are still holding on to the mask thing. They
Right.
Even though they know it's ridiculous already, and they get on stage and first of all,
they moved to a different room, and we were all like,
it was
you, but you got them.
No, you were in this room. Now the room had maybe 400 seats and 500 people.
Oh my God.
So there's people standing, and they're still talking, and there's like,
And the doors are open.
And now you're about to do comedy. Do you understand how hard that is?
Yeah, it's insane.
And luckily, Hashem, God blessed, the sound system was good. The rabbi went
That was
on.
all God,
Thank
by
you,
the way.
Hashem.
That's all.
For
It's
the
all
sound.
God. The
Hashem.
sound system comes from God. Whether it works or doesn't, that's just God. And I was able to. The rabbi, people were still talking while he was like,
Yeah.
but he gave me this really good introduction.
What did
and
he say?
Talking about like, I don't want to pump myself up. you
No,
know,
I'm asking.
it's their first event since the pandemic. So he goes, this guy was making us all laugh during the pandemic. He the videos, Yoili, Near, and all the stuff, and he did that. And people kind of a little got, quieter.
They were still doing like cocktail chatter, like
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
background.
It was just that, and then I get up, and I just start. As I get up, this other woman gets up too, so I just start clapping for her.
Oh,
And then I talked about, right away I addressed, this is a Purim show, and it's always when you can't start a show like that just with material. I just said, this is not just a Purim show and comedy show. Tonight we're here to raise money. And they were like, what? I go, for the rabbi's office. What a dump. And I started to rip into the rabbi's office. And the pictures, and this table's too big, and the car and the wallpaper's peeling, and then they got that. And then I made fun of the minyan that was outside. I go, I look over here, this young, and then I walked in the back, and it was like being in Boca, where the average age was deceased, and they just it was just. But I can't explain you know too. I mean, and I'm talking when you're in, and I'm in this zone. They were so with me, and I knew what material to do, and I knew how much to do. It's usually. And I was doing material where I didn't have to translate to the people who aren't Jewish.
right.
So I'm in my material and doing it, and people were just like, and I'm spitting on my finger, kind of,
Can I ask a question? I know we're here to talk to Elon, but I have a question. When you
No, Elon is here because his
Hamantashen?
mother made Hamantashen today.
Yeah, and by the way, I need a good DoorDash review. Hopefully a nice tip. This was a
5
long way to go.
stars, 5 stars.
we'll
Thank
put
you
you in
for
an
me.
Uber on the way back. What did you do? Like an hour?
Over an hour.
I did over an hour.
Do you go into shows like that with all the hours down, or you?
You can't. You cannot. You don't know what. It's what I'm saying. I'm doing comedy in a place where it's not meant to be done. At a time, it wasn't meant to be done. You can't. It's not like they came for comedy. It was Purim, and then comedy was happening. They knew it was going to happen, but they didn't really get their head around it. You've got to feel it. You've got to feel
And
it.
really just how the room is set up and the seating configuration, there's so many variables.
So what you're going in and you have no idea what material you're going to do yet.
Oh no, I know what material I'm gonna do.
You don't know the order in which you're going to do it.
I don't know the order at that point. I know somewhat order I'm gonna do, but it's the opening that's important.
Right.
You need to walk up there and have complete confidence. Then they have confidence. Then you can do whatever you want. But I could just see, I could see Leo's face, and he's like, I gotta put in the contract that has to be a focus. I could just see all this.
It is in the contract. They gave
but-
you a little riser stage.
But I made fun of the setup. It was an amazing show, And then while I'm in it, I'm like, I'm remembering to enjoy it, and I was and the material, and I was doing half of bits because I wanted to do other bits and leave time for more of them, and then
No, it went from being very loud in the beginning when the rabbi was trying to gather the people, and then I remember noticing there was a point in the middle of your set you kind of just paused and you could hear a pin drop. It was complete silence. Everyone was just waiting for your next. It was good.
It was one of those nights that just wow, everything feels so right. It's just
Yeah.
I can't, yeah.
And those Purim shows are tough because there's always so many kids, and yeah, they have someone watching the kids in another room. But I always find that there's always kids that sneak into the main room and start running around.
Yes.
And you have a Spider-Man going around in front of you, so then you got to do jokes about this little kid dressed like a superhero.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the
There's so
kids
many
up-
more variables in the Purim show.
No, 100%. Listen, they actually this was only for 18 and over, but some kids. They
No,
were
there was
good
kid-
kids. They were good kids, and they came in. There's nothing harder than doing a show when there's kids in the audience.
Yeah, don't bring your kids.
Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare.
Or control your kids if you do bring them.
It doesn't
or,
work
It was
like
giving
that.
like Passover program vibes, where the kids like burst into the ballroom and they like start running around in circles. Someone has
Yes,
to like bring
but
them
it
out.
was it was just it was magical. It was magical for the right things to happen at the right time, and it was even better than it wasn't in a theater, because like we're making this happen in this raw. It was so raw. I've done events in that synagogue where they set it up, comedy night, gala dinner, where there was lights and they built the stage, and there was this was better. It was literally in the middle of the main like ballroom type of a thing, a mic, and again the speakers was the most important, and the material was just, and it's just so funny to not have to translate. Usually I have somebody in the audience that's not Jewish, and I'm always just a part of the fun is translating to them what I'm doing, but it was amazing. It was really, really amazing.
What kind of a synagogue is that? Is it Reform or conservative?
It's Orthodox synagogue, but like light. It's not
Conservadox?
Like modern Orthodox.
modern Orthodox. Yeah.
How would you describe yourself?
I go to an Orthodox shul,
Okay.
but I'm like a non-practicing, for the most part, Jew. I keep
Gotcha.
kosher style. I go on the high holidays.
Kosher style.
What
Gotcha.
is kosher style?
It means I won't eat like a
Bacon mixed
cheeseburger.
with
I won't
pork?
eat bacon ever. No, I won't eat bacon mixed with anything, of course, but not even just bacon alone.
Yeah. The choosing people.
The choosing people. We are not the chosen people. We are the choosing people.
Did you make
That's a
that
good line.
out?
I
No,
made
Modi
that
made
up.
it up.
But Leo loves
so
it.
good.
But it's
No,
amazing.
you love a loophole also. You love a loophole.
But you know,
If you can't do this on this holiday, but
You know, loophole sounds like one of the tools that the Moyle uses.
yikes.
Speaking of loopholes, I have a whole commercial I'm doing this yearly next week
Really?
for a coffee company that it's just so specific. You
It's
can't
so specific.
you can't brew fresh coffee on Shabbat because it's cooking. You can ask someone. You can say
Oh,
that.
You could
God,
say
I
I-
can't
you
with
say-
this.
I can't. I know, but anyway,
She
so
was ready to
Sha-
become Orthodox
No,
until
but
you
it's-
told her that.
The
it's a bless-
Shabbos is this the Shabbos goy?
No, so there's this coffee company that's hired yearly to do. They have
Hired
it's
yearly
making
to-
like a tea bag that
hired
makes
you.
brewed coffee. I don't know. Well, it was just fun last night. I'm just saying, and also Leo's in the back of the room, so I know he knows what's going on in my head.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm watching the audience. I'm watching him watch me. Him trying to get a video. Before the show, it's 800 people in Scarsdale that have not seen me live since the pandemic, and they've been seeing Near and Yoily. So people there was one woman who was like,
Oh, she just followed you around the whole time.
she couldn't get over it. Oh my God.
Like you're out of my phone in real life. Like
She
like a
sees
true
me in the
fan.
synagogue when we were listening
so
to the
cute.
Megillah reading. She comes over, you're Modi. As if she had to tell me I wasn't sure I was Modi.
She was very deadpan. Like
I watch everything you do. I have videos of you on my phone from the cameos, But so sweet. What you're gonna do a show? It's really happening. What can I do for you? And then she actually was so sweet. Ariel, right?
I forget.
Ariel, she was so
She's
sweet.
head of the sisterhood or whatever.
And she was the whole thing going on. 800 people in the synagogue coming in and out. And she and then when I'm in the green room / rabbi's study, she goes, what, I just coffee. That's all I want. And I knew, but they weren't serving coffee. And she came back a half hour later with this cup of coffee that I knew she had to go through. Whatever she had, it was like to the teacher's lounge to get the Keurig.
Oh, that's
It's
so
sweet. It's a
nice.
my audience is very, very sweet, and they were very, very nice, and they all have videos. My cameos, I've done over 800 cameos.
All for
so-
Scarsdale.
No,
They all showed up.
so no, all over the world. Every time I do a show, someone comes over and like they have the cameo to show me right away. Remember you did this for my other 800 of them, but. You know what I'm talking about when you feel when you're in the show and you got them spinning and you know.
Yeah, you can control their every movement. You know
Yeah.
how this joke is going to hit. You
Yeah.
know what waves of laughter are going to come.
Yeah.
And you're totally in the zone. You're not thinking like ahead to the next joke or anything like that. You're just with them.
Yeah, and you could just it also brought the audience together because you can tell there's the people, like there was like a few still wearing the masks. And some of them were wearing the mask because they were a little bit older and scared. And some of them just like, I am still doing the mask, just to show you that I'm still doing the mask. And it kind of like gelled everything together with comedy. It was really, really good. And
I think,
yeah.
no, I think that's really where the art of it comes in. It's not like you can get up. A lot of people can get up and like tell a joke, make people laugh. But I think that, like, when you can make that happen in a room, like that's really where the art of stand up comes in.
Yeah, it was something to watch. How were
Right?
you guys recently saw each other in Boston?
Yes.
How were your shows in
yes.
Boston?
Yeah, we were headlining different rooms. Everyone was in Boston.
Everyone
that
was in
weekend.
Boston that weekend.
Everybody was in Boston that weekend.
How were you?
I was at the City Winery. You were at
Nick's Comedy Stop.
Mateo Lane was at
Laugh Boston.
Laugh Boston, and Matt,
And
Tim
Tim
Dillon.
Tim Dillon was doing the theater there.
The
Wilbur
theater.
Theater.
Yeah.
Everybody was in, and it was fun. And how was your show?
My shows were good. We sold out Saturday night, which I was surprised about because I was talking to the locals. I was like, does this place normally sell out? They're like, no, it's been pretty quiet for like months.
Wow.
So I'm going to take full credit for that.
That's amazing.
You, absolutely.
You should.
But they were great. It was like a really awesome show. They were just a really great crowd. Fun people, wanting to take pictures after the show
That's
and
so
all of that.
nice.
So nice. No, when you do comedy, because I told Leo, you can get to a town, and and there's a game on. The Hucks are playing the Bucks, and the Giants are with the Finns and whatever who's doing whatever, and you're alone at the comedy club. It's you and 3 waitresses because this game is on. It's very fickle, a comedy club, unless you're a huge name. But you got lucky. It was you are a huge name.
Thank you.
So
yes.
you,
They all thought it was Elon Gold. I've had someone do that before. I was headlining these shows at this off-Broadway theater, and this couple came to me after the show, and were like, we loved your show. It was so good. My husband always watches your videos. He loves your impersonations.
Yes.
And I was thinking, I don't do impersonations. So I said, who do you think I am? And we figured it out, and they thought I was Elon Gold. Even after seeing me for an hour, they
So
still thought I
funny.
was him.
Right. No, people always come to me and Elon with like
They switch your bits around.
they'll say to me, the Christmas tree thing you do is amazing. And he says they always, look, as long as they're not coming over and say, Jeff Ross, nothing.
No.
Did I look like Jeff Ross? Nothing. Okay.
I thought even better that like you get booked for a job and then you show up and they're like, oh wait, I thought it was you.
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
that-
If I could get his rates also.
Yes.
But Boston was good. And then you did your show, and then Mateo Lane was like, come to my show. And then you just show hopped. And then you
I went to Mateo Lane's show.
And you just
did
hopped on, you
15
it was
minutes
so
on that
fun.
audience, and they were amazing. It was such a great show hopping. Yeah, it was really like in Boston.
Yeah.
In
And you
Boston.
came by and you stopped by Modi's show. Everyone was kind of just like,
It was
That's really
cute.
fun. I love
Yeah,
that.
it's
Boston is an amazing comedy town. It's like many huge comedians
but
came
you
from
didn't,
there.
you
Sure.
went to BU.
I went to BU.
So you have a connection to Boston. But did you go to comedy clubs there? No.
Never.
You
I
didn't go out or
never-
do anything.
I never
You were
went to a comedy club until the first time I went on stage on
That's
a comedy
so
club.
That's
crazy.
that's insane, right?
I never even imagined
That's
or
insane.
thought about going to a comedy club.
Did you not go to a comedy club when you were at BU because you were too religious?
No, it's just like, well, I go to a comedy. When am I going to go to it never was in my comedy to me at that point was just on HBO. There was comedy specials. And back then it was a special. It was Bill
They don't make them like they
Cosby.
used to.
Did you
Bill
like stand
Cosby.
up though?
It was Bill
Him,
Cosby.
you're gonna lead with
It
Bill
was
Yeah.
Henny
Cosby?
Youngman.
when HBO,
Milton Berle.
No. I'm talking about later.
Jackie
I know.
Mason.
Oh, come on. So I never even I just thought that's where you saw comedy. I didn't know
But
you go
did
to
you
comedy
watch
clubs.
it? Did you like it? Like growing up, did you watch?
Only on HBO, whoever they had on HBO, which were amazing specials.
I mean, you grew up in New York City,
Yeah.
so you were exposed to comedy, I think, probably.
As
early
opposed to
on, right?
Modi, who grew
Yeah.
up on Long Island.
I
who
mean,
would-
it's
It's
different.
different.
It's a little different, I think. I didn't
you're not a good
dip
example.
my toes into the comedy world until I moved to New York. So it's just curious
Yeah, I used to sneak into the cellar when I was 17 to watch shows because it was like 18 and up.
Wow.
And they used to always have on the website like free tickets if you just reserved ahead of time. So me and my friends
Back in the day, yeah.
yeah. So me and my friends we would do it a lot. We would go. They were already 18. I was still 17. So the first time we went, we get down to the room. They didn't check my ID. So I was like, yes, we're in. But then we're such like idiots that we started like playing cards like on the table, waiting for the show to start. So then like the bouncer came over and he was like, "How old are you guys?"
Oh no.
Because we were so out of our element of like what you should do in a show.
They're like playing Uno in the
Yeah.
corner.
So, yeah, we were playing like spades or something. So anyway, then they checked my ID and kicked us out. But then we came back again, and they didn't check. And we
So,
were
but when
smarter.
you were 17 and you went to the comedy cellar, were you like, oh, that's what I want to do?
Yeah, I already knew I loved stand-up comedy, and then seeing people, well, I think you were probably there, and
Yeah.
Keith Robinson and Greg Giraldo and Colin Quinn, Daryl Hammond, all these people we saw on TV were there right in front of us. I was like, this is the place. And even before I started going there to see shows, I remember one time when I was 16, me and my friends went to the Olive Tree in an afternoon just to hang out. And Dave Chappelle was like sitting by the bar with his baby, like in a little baby holder on top of the bar, just hanging out, chatting. And like I was like, this is Dave Chappelle. He's like just right there. It was so cool.
Yeah, I never. It was never in my house. My wheelhouse, was that the word?
Yeah,
you guys, to go see comedy. I just whatever HBO put on, that was comedy. I never imagined it was a.
What about,
I
like-
would have gone to a cantorial concert over a comedy show.
Obvi.
I'm not kidding. I really would have.
I know.
I really would have.
And you found comedy more through writing, right?
Well, I used to take the subway in from Queens to go to Boston Comedy Club.
Oh, wow.
That
I've heard stories. I've obviously never went.
and
Before my time.
yeah, it was before your
It
time.
was way before your time.
And I was obsessed with Andrew Dice Clay. That was really
Little
how-
Miss Muffet.
Yeah,
That's what your thing was.
that was
Oh,
and
wow.
Howard Stern. That was really when I was like, I don't know, probably 15. When those guys came on my radar, it like kind of changed my life because suddenly there was like something that I was like, you can do this. This is like a real thing.
Because you're a writer, yeah.
And it blew me away. And I used to listen to Andrew Dice Clay's cassette tapes. Do you know what a cassette tape is, Leo?
I've seen him in books.
I've seen them on T-shirts. They have like little icons. It's kind of nice.
No, we mentioned it when Sheba Mason was on. I had Jackie Mason's cassette tape on loop,
Yeah.
just nonstop. It was in the car playing over
That's
and
what
over
I
and
had
over.
with Dice.
Really? So that was your. But the writing head is a different. I'm working on this commercial with this guy named Sam Ash, and he's a comedic writer, and his mind just thinks in one-liners. It's something
It's
I
almost
can't-
like a tick.
It's a tick. It's like Tourette's, but of one-liners.
Are they funny?
Some of them, every eight, there's one decent one that
Decent.
lands. But he knows it's not. They're all not
his,
landing.
Right,
his
sure.
email to you made me laugh out loud. Just the way he wrote an email, I was like, "This is ridiculous."
The way he writes his emails and text messages are just. He writes like he's writing to present to Fallon. Here's-
Right.
If I can, that's funny. Okay, let's do something about. And he's writing like a full haftorah about anything, and it's just so. It's a different type of comedy mind. Are you a writer? Do you sit and write your jokes, or do you need to be on stage to?
I like to work it out on stage. So what I'll do is I'll think of a funny turn of phrase or something like that, and I'll understand like what the beats should be. But then on stage is where I sort of figure it out, and certain lines will come to me in the moment, and then afterwards I'll write that down.
Right.
But if I'm writing for somebody else, like if someone's like, "Hey, we're doing this like roast for Comedy Central, whatever," so like, can you send me a list of jokes? When I have that homework, then I can sit down and write like 30 jokes in an hour. Like,
You could.
yeah, I need the homework. Otherwise, for my own set, I feel like it has to happen kind of on
Interesting.
stage.
What do you do?
Modi writes in the car. That's where he writes.
I write.
And you're in the car. Yes. Anytime you're in the car, we're going somewhere. You're like, I just look over and you're rehearsing something like silently. And
I
I'm like,
mumble-
what are
I
you
mumble to
writing?
myself.
Are you
a
ri-
lot.
do you write out?
No, he doesn't ever write it out.
No, but then I text it to myself.
Yeah.
I text it to myself. Let me
And
see
then
what
he
I
has a
texted.
Google Doc of just like one word kind of like triggers to each bit. Like
Right, that's how you remember stuff, right? Like one. That's how.
like
Yeah.
Sephardic
Yeah.
versus Ashkenazi. Like
Yeah.
but it's just like bullet points. It's not
Yeah, it's always like one keyword. So but if anyone
Yeah.
else found that, they'd be like, "This is a deranged person."
yeah,
It's
it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
weird
in-
shopping list.
in code. Yes, exactly. Do you sit down and write?
I don't know. This is some. Okay, I'm reading to you my texts to myself.
Go.
Okay, Israel is the made in China of nuclear bombs.
What does that mean?
I'm watching the war and I'm thinking to myself, like, why is Israel the one negotiating with Putin? The Israeli prime minister is the only one going to visit Putin, and I'm like, why? Because Israel's the OG of nuclear bombs. Jews have to be in the formula. Why does Iran have no nuclear bombs?
Well,
they have no Jews.
Yet.
You know what's sick?
So all of that in my head translates to Israel is the made in China of nuclear bombs.
And how stoned were you when you wrote that?
I wasn't stoned. It was I love.
You know what's sick is that this is what he's doing while he's watching the war.
I love that for you.
He's writing.
yeah,
He's
bits.
right.
This will be funny.
He's like, oh, good.
Well, you were talking about how you
No,
the
here-
videos
here's
of
a-
Zelensky, whether
Oh,
he was doing bits or
oh.
not. It was
That
funny.
it's.
What- what
I
was
did
it?
not think that was going to work at all, and it's been killing.
What is it?
It's a very of the
Zelensky.
moment thing.
Zelensky.
Zelensky.
My
First
bo-
of
my
all, I said
boyfriend.
it's amazing that this prime minister you can spell his name any way you want. You'll never be wrong. Everybody spells Zelensky with I's, E's, N's, U's, whatever you
Two
want.
Y's, one Y.
Yeah, no problem. Zelensky. Okay. I said he's a first of all, every time you see him on Instagram, remember, he's yapping in Russian, but there's never translation. There's almost never translation. It's very. So in my mind, I'm thinking this guy, his DNA is a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure when he's giving over the news to the people, there's got to be some you think
He's like doing bits.
Yeah.
two Russians walk into a bar. One says to the other, Kharkov? No, Kiev. Ah, must be Minsk. And I didn't think it was funny at all, but
Did you make that up?
yeah, because the Russians have no idea where the hell they are. They're just driving into this country. They have no idea what city they are.
Oh,
and it
my-
killed in Florida, and it killed last night. And it I did not that. So that's something I wrote to myself. What else did I write here? I don't know this. Zelensky spell any way you want. Breaking glass. Oh, this is actually Leo's joke that he gave me. So all the biggest anti-Semites.
Oh, there was a list that was released of the biggest anti-Semites of 2021, and it was Marjorie Taylor Greene, Dua Lipa, and Omar. What's her name?
Ilhan Omar?
Yeah, Ilhan
Whatever,
Omar. They
whatever.
were the top three. So the list was about how the top three this year was all women for the first time. And I was like, breaking the glass ceiling of anti-Semitism.
So breaking the glass.
That's
ceiling,
good.
right. So that's Leo's
Yeah.
joke.
It was, progress.
Yeah. Yes, all women.
Yeah. Land of milk and honey roll.
Wow.
Like a honey roll. I don't know. Sushi when it's crossed. Oh, like the sushi?
Okay,
in
we have
the-
to
we have to
discuss
discuss.
the sushi situation. It's a problem.
It's a problem.
It's a situation, and it's getting out of hand.
And we have to bring her up to date because she doesn't know. She does not travel in our circles.
So you mean sushi at Jewish events?
It's insane.
It's not normal.
It can't be that good.
It's
It's
no,
room-
okay.
room temperature.
Don't.
It's
don't.
sushi should be served cold. By the time you get to the sushi, it's like
You're probably
somehow
eating
warm.
kosher sushi too. To add
It
insult
is-
to injury.
Just let me tell you. First
I will
of
tell you
all,
the larger than life they had good sushi.
Yes.
But usually it's just like this vegetable roll, and then they put this like mayonnaise sauce on top, and then you smell it like before you get. It's bad,
Last night, the entire synagogue smelled like sushi.
but like the grocery store sushi.
Grocery store sushi. But just so every time you go to these Orthodox Jewish events, there's just sushi. It's like you'd think it's a Jewish event. There's a nice kichel, a kugel, a tzimis.
Well, look how Hamish this is.
But you walk in, it's sushi at a rate with the two Mexicans behind with the hat, like they're from China, from Japan, and it looks and there's so much of it, and it's beautiful. But like, when did sushi become? a part of the regular Jewish events.
And it comes from the Chinese restaurant. So the kosher Chinese restaurant now also serves sushi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just anything Asian is all coming from one place.
Okay, let me tell you something.
Okay.
You are never, ever supposed to order, even eat anything at any Asian restaurant that serves a different kind of Asian food than the kind of Asian restaurant it is.
Okay, so let me
That's
tell
like
you
rule
something.
number one.
Let me tell you something. So just let me tell you how far sushi is in the Jewish world. My rabbi Gav Bolino. So he was telling his daughter, "We're gonna go for pizza and this and this and that." And he goes, "Do you want pizza?" But she goes, "No, just get some sushi there." Because every kosher restaurant already have a place that's set up for sushi.
And it's
But just
disgusting.
how did it become so ingrained in the culture?
I don't know.
I feel like
It's
it's happened
disgusting.
overnight.
It's a level of class. It's a classy
You
kind of.
find
like,
me one
this is
kosher
a-
pizza
no,
restaurant
no.
that has decent sushi.
No, like,
Stop
this
it,
is a
stop it.
nice
No,
event.
no,
We're
no,
doing
no.
sushi.
Listen, don't poo-poo.
Anyway.
Some caterers make sushi. I mean, another level of gorgeous and amazing, and
Yeah,
it's
they're
really
from
good.
Nobu.
Yeah, literally. But like, but some of them are just to have. But let me tell you how Jewish Leo has become.
We told this story in the last podcast. We were talking about the plates.
with the sweater and the plates.
Yeah, we
I don't-
covered that
I
Oh,
never heard
with,
that
with
story.
Joey.
Weren't
Yeah.
you here?
with
Oh.
Joey.
I don't think we told that
No,
story.
we did for sure.
we
Trust me, I
did.
watched it
No.
twice.
Periel was just like zoning out for the whole podcast.
Never mind. Okay.
Listen to the last part of the last episode with Joey
Okay.
Pekarsky.
That was it. What else is? So how's your Jew? What's up? You working? What's going on?
Yeah, what do you have coming up?
Yeah,
What's
well,
going
so
on?
last weekend I was at Helium in Philadelphia for the first time. I was opening up for this comedian J.R. de Guzman, who's hilarious. He's from Sacramento, and he's getting like a big following. So all these people come out. He's always selling out his shows, and his fans are like, they're like your fans. They're great. They love what he does, but they also support like the other comedians who are on the show as well.
Right.
And these shows were fantastic. It was like you were talking about with that Purim show, but it was like all 5 shows of the weekend were just great. So I'm going to be in Nashville with him next weekend.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
At Zany's. So
Cool.
yes, I'm hoping that I can, kind of like work with him a lot more because these shows have been great.
That's so
so-
great.
Yeah.
It's a fun hang. You guys have a good.
Fun hang. He's a really cool dude. He plays guitar on stage,
Oh,
so he's
really?
different. It's like a
Oh,
different
I
kind
know.
of act.
Yeah, I know him. I follow him on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Guitar.
funny.
He's a guitar act.
He's
He
a
has
guitar act, but it's with like funny jokes all throughout. And he'll say like, "Oh, I'm about to do this song about whatever," but before he plays it, he's just diddling on the guitar and doing jokes.
Yeah,
jokes,
but it's like
jokes.
charming.
And the crowd's waiting, like, "Where's the
Yeah.
song? Where's the song?" But he'll do that for like 10 minutes, and the anticipation's building.
Nick Thune used to do that, right? Nick.
don't
Am I
know.
saying his name
Yeah,
right?
you're saying his name right?
Yeah, Nick Thune did this. The same exact thing. Yeah.
There's somebody, what's his name, your guy?
J.R. de Guzman.
Oh no, there's somebody else who does that too. It's an interesting.
it's,
yeah,
it's-
it's nice.
I kind of like it.
It's very nice.
Is it?
It's
Is
very.
that? I mean, I like it.
It's good. Whatever gets you laughs, whatever. As long as you're not doing magic, I don't
We
care.
don't like magicians.
yeah,
I-
you're anti,
if-
and also anti-impersonations, right?
No, impersonations the gesundheit hate. I don't go do your thing, but
No, he just doesn't ask to hear anyone's
I don't want to hear
impersonations.
it. Yeah.
You don't. Okay, right.
Elon, do you do any impersonations?
Please don't do any.
You don't
of
have to
that.
do
No, I
them right
don't.
now,
No,
but
it's
do you
nothing.
have any?
Nothing.
No.
You don't imitate any.
Even if I imitate my parents in a joke, I just give
Okay,
them some
then
fake
that's-
accent to make them sound more
Right.
Jewy.
That's not an that's a character. Big.
I liked
difference.
your old Jewish woman voice you did on Instagram the other
Oh,
day.
thank you. Yeah,
I'd never
might be,
heard that
There might
before.
be something there.
What's the old? What's your old woman? Your old
it's
Jewish
basically
woman.
my grandmother.
Okay. And let me. Okay. I don't want to make you do it.
But
No,
no, you
don't-
can go on Instagram and see it.
But listen, you asked a question. I want to answer it.
What did I ask?
You said, do I write my stuff? I think the biggest hurdle for me with doing stand up was because I write was that I like to tell stories you have to do it so much faster. That's like, you don't have the luxury. I mean, maybe you have the luxury. Maybe
You mean you're trimming a lot of words out to make it work
I mean,
on
maybe
stage?
like
Sure.
Louis C.K. has the luxury. Like, you don't have the luxury to get up there and like tell these stories that are just, you take them with you. It's got to be a lot faster, stand up.
I've had jokes where it starts out as like a 3-minute long thing, and then once it's finally finished, it's like a minute 10.
Yeah.
So you cut so much fat out of it.
Yeah, but there are comedians who tell a long story before they get to that punchline.
Yes.
build
but
it
you have
all
to
up
earn,
and
you have
build
to
it
earn
all-
that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Lenny Marcus is somebody who I'm very close to and who will come and watch me and like give me feedback, and he's brutal.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, but in a good way, right? I mean, out of love. But that's really it's not easy to be so I don't know the word that I'm looking for. Not industrious.
Efficient.
Efficient, maybe.
Concise.
Concise. Yeah, those are good words. It's not what I was trying to think of.
Comedy, there's the beginning and an end. In between, there's taglines, and you just want to
Yeah.
take out as much garbage in between the tags, and that's it. That's the whole trick. But some
But
people
it's
can
different
tell
when
a
you're
whole.
writing 200 pages than
Who
it
was
is.
I watching? Kurt Metzger has this bit about Hitler and how the jaywalking. It's a jaywalking bit about and it's a lot of talking before he starts to get the punchlines. And then he gets the punchlines, and then he's continuing with the story where you think he's leaving it, but he's going back to it.
Right.
It's a type. But you obviously need to have time
I like
on
that tug of
stage.
war.
You like it or you don't like it?
I mean, it depends on who's doing it, but I like.
I
feel
like
I
it too. Like Sarah Silverman does that really well. Like there's a real. It's
It's a
amazing.
type of comedy. I need laughs. I need laughs in between.
But you need laughs in between this too. That's what I'm saying. Like you can't just go up there and tell a story. That's not stand up. That's going up there and telling a funny story.
That is stand up.
Spoken word poetry.
Right. No.
It's just got to have punchlines in it. The
Yeah.
crowd thinks of it as one cohesive story with a lot of jokes in it.
right, but every few seconds you want to have people laughing.
Stand up is all over the place. Listen, the shows I did in Florida for the people who are of a higher age,
Senior citizens.
senior citizens, I was doing great. I would do a half hour of comedy, my material, and they were laughing and having a good time, and then I do the jokes, and they
A
are
priest and a rabbi.
a priest and a rabbi, those types of jokes, and I can't tell
Lose
you
it.
to watch an 85-year-old woman curl up laughing.
Go into cardiac arrest.
Literally. You saw the audience.
Literally, the
love
back
that.
the back row, like that, where you exit the theater, is just like walkers and canes and like medical wheelchairs.
But these people, for
But
those
they had the
Feather-
time.
feather
that's the
chairs?
jokes they want.
Well,
That's the
feather
jokes they want. And you have to know how to deliver those. You can't just go up and say, "A priest and a rabbi walk into," you have to be able to sell it. And
To me, I think it's impressive. I think those older audiences that I've seen you do in these theaters, especially in Florida, to me, in some ways, it's more impressive because when I think of those people, I'm like, those people have seen some shit. Like they've seen people come around and go around, and they've been on cruises or the Catskills, or like they've seen performers.
yeah.
And so I always feel like, when you get them, it's must be satisfying.
But at the end of the
I don't
day,
know.
at the end of the day, what do they want? A joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
At the end of
they
the
don't
day.
have. They're not
That's-
fucking around. They don't have time. Like if it's not funny, they're not
They
going
don't,
to laugh.
they don't want to hear your soliloquy to get to one
yeah.
punchline.
But that's what they know stand-up is. To them, it has to be a joke like that. Like certain cultures also, like they don't understand what we're doing today, which is funny to us and to our audiences. Like I was just in Greece. I did one show in Athens, and it was in English. And the comics who were there were saying, like, when we do shows in Greek, stand-up does not work because they want to only see like a guy getting hit with a pie in the face.
Oh, really?
Hilarious.
They haven't
Wow.
been trained to like what talking funny is.
Matteo Lane mentioned that because he was doing a show in Rome, and he was saying that the stand-up community in Italy is very like, I don't know how you say, nascent. Like it hasn't come up yet, and people are still figuring out, I think, in Italian
That's
how
so
to do stand-up because
interesting.
he was saying the same thing you said, that it doesn't exactly translate. And
I,
people are like,
I was talking about that when Godfrey was on, because when he and I in the '90s were doing shows in Holland, they were like they were like America in the '70s of stand-up. The comedy clubs were just beginning, and stand-up people going up and actually just telling jokes. It was just it's a cultural thing. In Israel, it's politics. In Israel, everybody knows every single politician, parliament member, and so you can just go up and say Lieberman, and imitate him a little bit, and they're all with you.
There's a lot of sketches on TV in Israel, like SNL style, that everybody's dressed as like different politicians. I have no idea what's going on because you don't know who any of those people are. Larry Charles.
yeah.
Yes, Larry
The
Charles.
Seinfeld writer, Curb Enthusiast.
yes.
He made a documentary about going around the world and filming stand-up in like some war-torn countries or something and places
wait,
in.
that's interesting. I want to see
It's so fascinating. I mean, it's exactly what you're talking about, which is in different countries, like it's just completely different of like the kind of humor people are accustomed to.
Right.
I'll
Yeah,
look it
that's
up.
why. I first started seeing stand up when I would go to the Catskills because my dad was in a lodge. So every year they'd have one weekend at one of the Catskill hotels, and so I'd go to he'd let me go to the show, and it would be like a singer and a comedian, and they'd all be these old timey comedians,
Right.
who also might sing a song as well. And then one time Modi was the comedian.
No.
This is in the mid '90s.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Did
So
you
you're like-
know this?
I had no idea. You never told me this.
I told you this.
You did?
Yeah. So this is like 1995, maybe 97, somewhere in that kind of
That's
range.
right when I began doing over there, yeah.
Yeah, so you're like a young guy, and it was so cool to see someone who was like that I could actually relate to up there, not just some 75-year-old man in a tuxedo. And I remember you were doing some, English. You throw in a little bit of Yiddish for a punchline, so the older people in the crowd were really into that kind of stuff. And then afterwards, me and my dad talked to you in the lobby, and my dad was like, "My son wants to, do comedy." We chatted with you for a while.
Wow.
So you were kinda like that first-
1995?
Yeah,
Wow.
I was 1 year old. I was like 12 years old or something, and it was.
That's amazing.
That's so sweet.
So before I could even go to a comedy club, it was finally seeing like someone who could do like a modern kind of set who was young.
I will tell you I think I spoke about this before on the podcast, but when we came to America, my mom was figuring out what's our thing. And so someone said, let's come to the Catskills and see what was going on. This was in the 70s. So it was still like, it was a vibe up there. And we went to Kutcher's. And we stayed, and the Friday night show was Buddy Hackett. I remember it.
Wow.
But my mom was so grossed out by the food and everything. We left Saturday, right. Yeah, my mom's like, we're not staying here another night. This is so gross. And we got, so I don't know, but I remember seeing Buddy Hackett, filthy as all hell. But I was like
Wow.
blown away.
I was not exposed to comedy before I met you, in any way, shape, or form. Like I wasn't
Really?
allowed to watch anything.
I was going to say you weren't allowed to
I
do
was.
anything.
There was
Really?
the TV was locked. There was a password on everything.
So what was,
like,
the what was the funniest thing you saw as a kid?
VeggieTales? Are you kidding? I could tell you the whole VeggieTales like discography, but
What the hell's a VeggieTale?
it's like the Christian cartoon, and they
I
do the
cannot.
tomato, and there's a cucumber. You've never heard of VeggieTales?
No.
Have you heard of Have you heard
I've
of
heard of it,
VeggieTales?
yeah.
It's they tell biblical stories, but they use these
Yeah.
these little vegetables, and one of them's a cucumber, and one of them's a tomato, and they like do the Bible.
No.
Like
Okay, first of all, don't look at me like you've never heard of VeggieTales. Like I'm the
Yeah.
weird
I feel like
one.
VeggieTales is universal.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's not.
I'm gonna post it on your Instagram.
Never anybody who heard of VeggieTales. Never.
Oh my God! All right, I'm gonna.
A
We'll see.
password
We'll see
on
if
the
anyone
television?
responds. No, I wasn't allowed to watch anything. I was raised very sheltered, I guess.
I
didn't. And then all of a
know.
sudden, I jumped into the world of comedy
Yep.
with
How-
Modi and the Comedy Cellar and et cetera, et cetera.
So crazy. That is so crazy.
Yeah,
Were
I
you
went
like
from 0
shocked?
to 100.
When you went from 0 to 100, you did.
Yeah, I just.
Were you shocked?
I don't know if shocked was the word. I was obviously intrigued,
Right, obviously. You're obvious.
but
Your world must have been just like
So just to keep in mind for me now I'm thinking this through. So my first comedian ever seeing live was Buddy Hackett in the Catskills, and then anything HBO had on, which was Eddie Murphy, Bill Cosby, whoever they had specials. They were amazing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
amazing back in those.
Richard Pryor.
Oh
I
God,
loved.
amazing! That was it. Then 1993 or 4, Donnie Moss tells me, you're very funny, you should do it on stage. I get to the comedy club. It was stand-up New York, and it was a dump back then. It was a real
which will
dump.
be on March 31st.
I'll be on there
if you want
tonight
tickets.
doing the Perm show.
plug.
So, but I remember I'm in a suit because I'm coming from the bank. I was
Did
working
you
at
know
Miller-
you were funny?
And then I see these 3 guys or 4 guys before me bombing. I go, what are they doing up there? And they're like, they're
so
doing
hard
their.
to
I
watch.
go, what? They stink. They stink. Why would they even think they can do comedy? I get up there. I killed.
And this
I-
is your first
my
open mic. Your first
open mic.
so chutzpah.
Donnie set up everything. He brought. You had to bring 3
Because Donnie
people.
also did stand up for a minute, right?
Way after.
Because he's funny.
He's funny. But he said to me, you're so funny, you should do it on stage. I said, what do you mean do it on stage? He goes, there's a comedy club. And he set it all up. So there I am at a comedy club in a suit because I came from
Merrill Lynch.
Merrill Lynch. And I'm watching 3 guys eat it. I'm like, what are they
And you're
doing?
like, I could do this.
No, I had no doubt I can do this. I
That's
didn't
where your
care
success
about
comes
this.
from.
And I went up there and I did the secretaries and whatever impression.
What did you
Very
do?
problematic things, which
I
you would get
had-
canceled for today.
Oh, today I watched one of my sets from way, way, way back.
Oh, that's fun.
I would have been, oh my God.
Yeah,
I would have been so canceled.
Yeah.
It was the Latina secretary who began everything with mira and ended it with coño. And then there was the gay secretary. Everything was hello. Everything was hello. And then there was the Italian waiter at Pasta Pipi Pasta Kaki on the Upper West Side. The anti-Semite salad. I had all these ridiculous, over-the-top characters, and that was the whole set. But it was laughs. I was getting laughs. These other guys went up there.
But it was very
died.
physical. Would you say it was very physical? Like physical comedy?
It was loud. It was very, very loud. But it was.
Did you know you were funny though, all growing up, and when you
Never.
worked at Merrill Lynch and all of that? Like you must have always been funny.
Like water cooler funny?
Were you funny in school?
I was school. I had to be. I just had to kiss ass because I was so stupid.
You were
but-
just trying to get through it.
Yeah, I was trying to get through it. God damn it. But I knew I could get a laugh here and there, but like I didn't think it was like a thing. I remember at BU. So at BU, I was in. I'm gonna have Elon Gold on the show, but I remember at BU, I was like super religious-y, and Elon was doing stand-up, and he was at the Hillel House, and I was at Chabad, and we introduced each other, and he said, I'm telling Joe, I'm a comedian. I was like, what do you mean? I'm gonna go to. There was this club that Pete Tumbekis used to do a show in the back, and they would do a comedy, and Elon was always dressed like a comic with his little pen and paper and little bits and my bits and I was looking. I go, what was he gonna go up? I go, what if they don't laugh at you? He goes, I just keep going on. I remember that meeting. I remember the meeting with Elon. That was like the first time I met Elon. He was telling me he was a stand-up comic, and I was like, what does that mean?
That is so
And
funny.
yeah, that
And he was like, it's like VeggieTales, but you're on stage.
I'm going to hold by VeggieTales. Listen, I can do a deep dive on VeggieTales.
if you want, those of you, and once in a while I still get video of people 100 years ago, this guy made this video called Agent Emmis. Emmis means truth.
Wait, have I
Agent,
seen this?
No.
No.
And he did these 4 different series of, it was 4 different videotapes. They're still on sale in Judaica
Oh, wait, you
store.
told me about this.
And I played Rocky Rabinowitz.
Is that a porn name?
No, it was Agent Emmis, and he was this kid who fought evil. He fought Dr. Lotov.
Oh my God.
No good.
This
Dr.
is
No
what
Good.
VeggieTales is. This is you were in a version of VeggieTales. It's
And
the
I
same
was,
thing.
I was singing, and it was a Hanukkah special, and it was a whole tape. And these tapes, and the guy, it never went anywhere because what happened was one community would buy one CD, and they just shared it between the families. So he never saw, it was horrible.
It was like Netflix.
It was,
Which they're gonna start charging if you share your password now. Did you read that?
yeah, but
They're gonna
I'm
like
paying for
That's
mine,
anarchy.
so
That's more disruptive than Ukraine and Russia.
that is though that is Swift sanctions. That is gonna be wreak havoc on households.
really, I pay for everything, so it's anybody's problem who's on my account. But I pay for.
No, you're gonna get charged if someone's using your password in a
Oh.
place that's not the address registered to your
sons
account.
of bitches.
Sons of bitches.
Sons of bitches.
They're getting really greedy, Netflix. I don't know.
They are,
Too
yeah.
big for their britches.
Well, no, but they're putting out some good stuff. Anyway, are we?
Everyone do your plugs.
Well, wait. First, you have a question for
Oh
Elon.
yeah!
Okay.
Wow, how come I never remembered to
It's
ask?
okay. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
I always ask, who's your rabbi? Like, not your rabbi in the synagogue, your guru. Who's your mentor? He's gonna say his wife because I know she's gonna listen. He's gonna.
Oh,
say
I
my
wasn't even
wife.
thinking of a woman, so that's kind of funny. That when you say rabbi, I'm thinking it has to be a guy.
Like a guru, a rabbi, somebody you go to, a mentor or something that you'd.
I'd probably say my parents.
Okay, cute. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, I still live nearby them, so they're a big influence.
Really.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, on the Lower East Side.
That's where we're from. 3rd generation, born on the Lower East Side.
Yeah, that's
No,
cool.
That's I hate you. No, I really hate that whole. It's.
Why do you say
I,
hate
I
you?
moved.
That's so mean.
I moved into the Lower East Side in 2004. I bought my first apartment there at full price. And then you walk around there and you see little Elons whose grandmother's grandmother gave them an apartment. The family has 16 apartments all over Grand Street. They just always, am I right? You're one of those families.
Right. But because while we're doing construction in our apartment, I'm staying in my uncle's apartment in the same building,
Yes,
which he wasn't using.
Which they all bought for $17.
Right.
They all bought these apartments.
Right.
We were in the needle and thread union, and we were able to buy the apartment for $6. I'm coming in.
Yeah, they were for union workers.
Yeah, and so I'm, so union work, yeah. So, and I bought 2 apartments, but look, there's always these Elons that are just. My family has 17 apartments here, and
all right.
for $12.
Yeah, but this neighborhood wouldn't be what it is without people like my family.
That's right.
Like,
Well, you
my
know
grandfather had a tuxedo store on Clinton Street. My other side of the family had a pickle stand.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that's
love
legit.
That. What was
That's
it called?
legit.
What were those companies?
Greenfield Pickles
Wow.
on Clinton and Rivington, and then really catty corner from that was my grandfather's tuxedo store.
What was it called?
I don't know, Altman tuxedos.
That's so funny.
But
That's cool.
my dad was just telling me this story. So for JFK's funeral, Bob Hope called up my grandfather because he needed a certain kind of coat that you have to wear for a formal funeral.
Oh, really?
It's called a mourning coat. It's like a long-tailed, like tuxedo kind of coat.
Yeah.
And JFK died on a Friday. The funeral was a Monday, and their shop was one of the only ones that was open at strange hours. So Bob Hope got outfitted for JFK's funeral from my grandfather's shop, and also the Secretary General of the UN.
Wow.
And actually found a picture of the guy wearing it, greeting Jackie O.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And of course, and luckily they didn't have to worry about shotness.
What's that?
It's when you mix wool and linen together.
Oh my God. And
And
the fact that Leo is translating it. Right.
Veggie Tales,
Veggie
Veggie Tales.
They go over some
Shotness. Do you know what
veggie tales.
shotness is? Watch us.
Did I
blow,
explain
watch
it?
us blow her brain out.
It's someone takes the thing and looks at it and gives it a hecture and says,
No.
"This
A
isn't
who?
mixed."
Wait.
The collar of a suit. Do you ever see like when you pick up guys the collar?
Yeah,
a
sure.
blazer. There's like that fabric that
Yeah,
holds the collar
yeah.
together. You can't mix linen and wool together.
So, what do you mean? What do you mean you can't?
For kosher reasons?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
So they.
Please stop.
No, stop. No.
So there's
a
places
reason-
in Williamsburg you'll see shotness.
That's what it's called? Shotness?
Shotness is when it's mixed together. So they want to make sure that there's no shotness. You can't mix wool and linen together.
Why not?
It's because the paroka.
It's in
because
Leviticus, isn't it?
Wow, I can't do it.
Because it's nonsense. That's why.
It's not
It's
now.
made up.
If you connect to it spiritually, it's an amazing thing. I will
my God.
be on the 24th at the Miami Improv. I think this will air right before then. This will be the day before. So
Yeah, the
those of you
day
listening to this
before.
tomorrow night, I'm at the Miami. I'm at the Miami Improv. Please, hopefully it'll be sold out by then. And then the 31st, I'm gonna be at Stand Up New York. Special show. I'm bringing Little Mo. We have Little Mo. Hey, you doing?
Lil Mo.
I don't know.
He's gonna be on the show. It's gonna be fun. And what
You
else?
have links for LA on June 9th, and there's a link for an event in Toronto.
There's a whole bunch of links on bio and modilive.com and Periel, who is saving the world one Ukrainian at a time.
Right.
What are
yeah.
you doing?
I'm at Periel Ashenbrands on Instagram. You can find links to all my shows and everything
No one can
else.
spell any of her
Yeah.
name. No
They
one-
can just
It's
find
not
me.
Zelensky.
If they
It's not
wanna
like a
find me,
Zelensky.
they can find me.
Ashton Brand. It's like there's so many things that can go wrong spelling that last name.
Lot
I
of
would,
consonants.
if I had to spell it right, if someone put a gun to my head and said, spell Ashton Braun,
None of those.
Wait, can I try to spell it?
Well, first let's start with Periel.
oh.
Periel.
Very
yes.
nice. That's it.
Okay, now
If
I'm
I
going
had
to
to
go for the
sp-
last
the
name.
only way I could ever spell Periel right would be Pei Resh Yud Aleph Lamed.
And you're looking at my
and,
earrings.
and I'm looking at your earrings.
Ashenbrand.
ASCHENBRAND.
Done.
Perfect.
I would never.
I was the spelling bee champion.
Were
oh,
you?
were
Yeah.
you?
Now
oh my
use it in a
God.
sentence.
6th grade.
I feel a little Asian in you.
I actually,
No, I can't say that.
I tied with a black girl in my class, actually. The Asians didn't even make it to the top. But we were it was 6th grade, and we both were at the final 2, and they were like, do you want to just call it a tie, or do you want to go for it? And I'm like, I'm not a big risk taker, so I was like, let's share the award.
Where are your shows,
Or
or where can people find you?
Yeah, so they can find me if you're in Nashville, April 24th to 27th. I'm at Zany's Nashville with J.R. de Guzman. And if you're in Buffalo, New York, I'm headlining Rob's Comedy Playhouse May 12th and 13th, or 11th and 12th, I don't know. And you could find me online on Twitter at Elon Altman or Instagram at Elonstagram. Oh, and also I should plug my podcast, Billy Joel A to Z.
Wait, we're gonna
If
have
you
to
guys love
discuss.
Billy Joel and want to hear a podcast about every single song he's ever written, go to Billy Joel A to Z.
You know, Bill.
I
Wow.
forgot about that.
I forgot
yes.
about that.
He once hit. He
True.
once hit me with that, and I had to pretend I was like, okay, that's fine. Good.
I do a song parody every single episode. We just did Only the Good Die Young, so the parody was called Order the Egg Foo Young.
Give us a little bit.
Give us a little. Come on.
I don't know that one.
Only
offhand.
the good die.
Oh, it was, come out, Virginia, let's get Chinese. I know a good place, Han Dynasty. You
have
can
a-
order whatever you want.
You have a lot of jokes about Han Dynasty.
Yeah, my closer is about Han Dynasty, so that part of the lyric is a reference
Yeah.
to my.
That's a very
Yeah.
funny joke. I've heard you
So
do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
funny.
That's fun. Yeah, I
Very
like that joke.
hysterical. We worked together at in
Governors.
Governors. You killed. Amazing, amazing. You killed on a bit, not only because you were funny, but like it was an all religious audience that came to see me, and we put Olga on,
Olga Namer.
and
Yeah.
she was so dirty. But they loved it. They loved it. They're like, okay, we're in a comedy club. We're leaning into it, and then you had to buffer it out.
She took her a second. Then they liked it. They didn't know what was happening at first.
At first, they were not
Yeah.
sure what was happening.
She's the best.
She's so funny. Oh my
So
gosh. She's
funny.
hilarious.
Anyway, you're the best. Thank you for listening. Thank you for cameoing me, and thank you for being a part of my life. And we'll see you all at the next, and hear you all at the next podcast. Thank you.
Showing.
What did you